You're listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast with holistic entrepreneurs Mandi and Kathleen Hupp. Tune in each Wednesday to discuss holistic approaches to a happier, more fulfilling life and glittery distractions from the mundane. Nothing is off limits in this series, so grab your glass of champagne or your shot of wheatgrass and prepare for complete and fabulous chaos.
I'm going to be Uber Eatsing my Amazon Prime order from Whole Foods. Which, by the way, if you go to Whole Foods now and you have an Amazon Prime membership, you get 10% off.
Is it a flat 10 across the board?
Only on sale items.
Because I know they have specials all the time. They're like, for Prime members only.
It's on sale items.
So at this point now, like Prime pays for itself big time with all the shipping, all the Whole Foods discounts, all the everything. Like, yeah, and especially if you take advantage of their like music and movie service, then it really pays for itself. But
yeah, it really does.
I was resisting for so long because I was I don't want to feed into the conglomerate. But at this point, I'm like, okay,
you can get same day delivery when you're sick. Like when I first started my journey and I had to go on a bone broth fast, I like felt so crappy. There's no way I could even have driven to like Whole Foods. Ugh. So I just Amazon Primed 3 bags of bone broth, and it came to my door within 2 hours. I was at my door.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't know they had a delivery app like that.
Yeah. Okay. Whole Foods does through Amazon.
Okay.
It was awesome.
GTK, good to know.
Yeah, got to do it.
Speaking of Whole Foods, oh my gosh, the celery juice craze.
Isn't it insane?
Everyone is on celery juice right now.
I'm surprised you're not doing it.
I know. I like to resist the trend for a little while and then I buy into it.
No, me too. The only reason I got into it was a total fluke. I was actually at Target. Of course. Target can talk me into anything.
We're always
there. And I saw organic celery and I was like, organic celery? The celery juice craze. Should I do it? And then I realized I don't have a juicer. I barely have a blender. I have like one of those little bullet things. And I'm like, how can I make juice from this? And then I remembered I had a food processor. So I went on YouTube and I looked up how to juice celery with a food processor. And then I did it.
Was there an actual tutorial for that?
Mm-hmm, totally.
Oh, nice.
It was like 20 minutes long. So I'm like at Target with crappy internet service, like trying to get through the YouTube video because I want to commit to this $3 stock of.
So 2 hours later, you bought the celery.
So I committed. Well, I did wander the store while I was, I was productive.
Because I've also seen that you can use, if you don't have a juicer, you can use a blender and cheesecloth.
Oh, yeah.
And like squeeze it out like a bag.
That's kind of what I did. I can't remember what I put it in, but yeah, I was like, I just used my hands. I literally just squeezed it in my hands.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, right into a glass jar.
That'll do it.
Yep. And it was interesting. I did not expect it to taste like it did.
Yeah, was it bitter?
Salty.
Yes.
So salty.
That sounds right.
I did not expect that. I thought it was going to taste like green water.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I drank it one day.
It's funny how these trends come around.
Yeah.
Like when we opened the juice bar, that was like, 4 years ago? It was turmeric. Like everyone,
all about it.
Everyone came in and they were like, do you have turmeric? That was their first question. Like, where's the turmeric? Do you have it? Is it in this juice? Is it in that juice? I need the turmeric. And we were like, what news publication like made turmeric a thing? Mm-hmm. Like it's been obviously known to be an immune booster forever, right. But like recently what happened? And just now, like recently, who is talking about celery? Was it on CNN? Was it on NBC? Was it on every news channel?
I think it started with the medical medium. Yeah. I don't know if you listen to any of his podcasts, but he talked about, so he's like an intuitive medium and then gets messages from the universe, spirit, God. He says God, I think. So he was told that the healing capabilities of celery will heal like thousands of people. And it's in like the type of salt that's in the celery. And so he had to like literally petition for people to juice celery. That's why he said it. Like there's no scientific reason. There was like nothing. He just said
Is he the one who wrote the book? Because I know there is a book about it.
Yeah. There's like, he does like a liver book. There's a whole bunch of different books that he's written. But he says that it has to be celery juice first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, cannot be mixed with anything. Yeah. Like no lemon, no water, no apples, nothing, just pure celery.
There is something to that. Anytime you have any produce or any substance like that, like isolated, like without anything with it, it's so much more beneficial.
Like powerful.
Yeah, because your body can absorb every little piece of it and it knows what to do with it. And it's not interrupted by like, oh, let me grab this from the apple, but also this from the celery. It's, just absorbing everything from the celery.
That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's interesting how like one person can come up with it and then it slowly started to tumble into a trend. And then it started making local news. And then the last people like you and I like waited forever. We're like, okay, fine, we'll try it. And then everyone's drinking it.
It's crazy. Yeah, everyone is doing it. Everyone I know.
Well, it goes along with all the diets too. You know, there's always like a new diet with a new name going on. So it's kind of the same thing. My whole concept as a health coach is anytime you incorporate something healthy into your body, you're going to notice a benefit, right? So like if you eat fast food all day and junk food and chips and soda and you have a celery juice in the morning first thing, of course you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a no-brainer. It's maybe not necessarily just the celery. It's just the fact that you're eating something healthy.
Yeah, your body's like, thank you. We'll get rid of this waste.
Yeah, and I see that a lot with like keto. You know, people come to me and they are on like the worst diet ever. And then they just cut out fast food and soda and, you know, sugary carbs like cookies every night and they feel better. I'm like, well, it's not necessarily the keto. It's like the fact that we eliminated a bunch of crappy food.
Yeah. I know it's such a simple concept, but sometimes we just need it to be wrapped in this like fad package.
Right.
Like, tell me how to change my life overnight.
So I wonder like what's going to be next, the next superfood.
I know. So we've done, okay. Did you ever see that Portlandia episode about this conversation? It was basically like, I don't know, executives or whoever, like around a round table. And who is it? Steve Buscemi or Buscemi, whatever his last name is. Funny guy. He was in charge of like making celery cool and like making people want to buy celery. And he was like, celery, it's really good in a Bloody Mary as a garnish. And like you can put peanut butter on celery, like ants on a log with raisins. And everyone was like, dude, come up with something better than that.
Well, it's true because at the parties when you get like a veggie tray, isn't celery like the one thing nobody touches?
Yes,
it's always leftover.
Last man standing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, that marketing ability.
I know.
So I hope it's wheatgrass. Let's go for team wheatgrass as the next superfood because we know it is. Everyone should be at home juicing wheatgrass.
Yeah, that's a lifesaver for sure.
I love that.
So many levels. So speaking of juice and expensive things.
Life's expensive.
Yeah. So today's episode, we're going to kind of talk about streams of income and how to maximize efficiency and live the life you want. And that requires money.
Exactly.
Life is damn expensive these days.
So expensive. I think, you know, even if you're living on your like bare necessities and you're trying to be frugal and you listen to the episode with Catherine where she talked about going zero waste to save money, or let's say you're like even planting your own fruits and veggies in the backyard, life is still expensive. Like there's always going to be these things that we have to pay for. You know, I think you and I kind of brainstorm just a few off the top of our heads. Like you have to have a cell phone, kind of have to have a car. I mean, if you're lucky and you live in an environment where you can like take public transportation, you still at some point are going to travel by train or plane or something.
Yeah.
Your health insurance, if you have that.
Health insurance is huge.
So expensive.
And so frustrating.
Yeah. I wonder how many people have it and pay for it out of pocket, you know, without their employer. And then how many people like have it through their employer? Because if you've never had to pay for health insurance on your own, you have no idea how much it costs.
Yeah.
It's insane.
This older couple that I know, they're both self-employed. So of course they have to, you know, pocket or front everything. They pay $900 a month each in health insurance.
That's insane.
And it's so frustrating to me because I just want to be like, put that money, put the same $900 in your own bank account that will, you know, accrue interest, and you'll end up with more in the long run. And then maybe you don't need it for health insurance. Maybe you just save it and like leave it as an inheritance for your kids. Or maybe at the end of your life, you take a trip with it, or like that would be so much money. And insurance, like you might need it, you might not, like nobody knows.
I know, it's insane. And even like, you know, you have your car insurance and dental insurance and life insurance and
then if you have kids or want to have kids, that's a whole other ball game. I think now it's like, what is it? 175,000.
I've heard $1 million.
Oh God.
For the lifetime of your child.
Okay. 0 to 17 years. If you are in like the lower of the middle income bracket, I think it's 175,000
per child
for the first 17 years per child.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's even going up now.
And that's like low salary. That's I think under 60,000 a year.
Wow.
So then you go up and up and up, and it's upwards like to $1 million. Like ridiculous.
Yeah. Life is just expensive, even on a budget.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes into what we wanted to talk about today is, you know, you have the one side of it where you can save more and live more frugally. But then there's the other side of it where you could just make more money. And that's kind of the side that we want to talk about today is how can we make more money? How can we do it in a way that we're not wasting more of our life, you know, not working 24/7 and having 6 jobs and, you know, so there are different ways. And it kind of goes, if the whole principle, if you guys have ever heard of it, the millionaires have 7 streams of income. And that's how they get financially stable. That's how they leverage their time and live their life without having to work 24/7.
Yeah.
So we did a bunch of research. We're going to share our experience and give you guys some good tools to implement into your life and hopefully be able to start making your life be in a goal of financial freedom.
Yeah. And like Mandi said, freeing up your time.
Yeah.
So that you're not working 24/7.
That's the biggest thing. I think when I turned 30 is when I started realizing that I couldn't work 3 jobs like the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because I did that all through my 20s and it was great and kept me busy and saved money because I wasn't out like spending it. I was just working all the time.
But you didn't see people unless you were serving them or something.
So I'm like, well, okay, we have to figure out another way. And then I remember reading this book called Beach Money and I didn't really know what it was about. I just was like, ooh, beach money. Like, that just sounds so interesting.
Yeah.
And it like opened my eyes to the thought of to really become a millionaire, you have to make money while you're sleeping because you only have so many daylight hours that you can be working. Even the best, let's say massage therapists, you know, they charge, let's say it's $200 an hour. I mean, there's a cap on it, right? There's only so much someone's going to pay for your hourly worth. And then you can only massage people a certain number of hours a day before you're tired.
Yeah.
So at that point, you have literally hit your limit of income potential.
Right.
And
yeah, if you're hourly, there is a limit.
Yeah.
For sure.
And hourly, you know, one side of it is like corporate job, if you're paying like by your employer hourly. And then there's also like your own worth of what you're going to get paid in your lifetime. So I was like, oh my gosh, that makes total sense as a hairstylist, as a waxer, as a health coach, personal trainer. Like there's only so much people were going to pay me. So I'm like, I got to get in on this 7 streams of income and making money while I'm sleeping thing.
Yeah. I first heard it when I was in college. Someone that I was dating at the time was like, I want to get to a point in life where I can sail around the world in a sailboat if I want to, or on a cruise ship or whatever, and then come back a year later and be richer than I was when I left.
Yes.
And I was like, what? How are you going to do that? Like in my little college mindset, I was like, how? Like, you're not going to be at your job. Who's going to be paying your salary? Like, how are you going to do that? And he was like, are you kidding me?
And that's like, you're so right, is we are not taught this in college. We are not even taught this as a dream. You know, I think we all kind of dream of like, oh, wouldn't it be nice? And if I could live this life, but I don't even know how to do that. Like we are not given the tools to get from A to B unless we find them through a conversation with someone else or by searching the internet. Like, so I don't think that's fair.
You're sold the American dream that says, I will get a good job and then buy a house and build the life I want. But if you're working for someone else, then you have that limit. And then that limit is probably going to be already accounted for through your insurance or your roof breaking or your air conditioner at your house breaking. Like,
and there goes your savings.
Life is expensive.
Back to that. So this is the first time you're hearing that it's actually possible to make money while you're enjoying your life or sleeping. This episode is totally for you. And we're so glad you're listening because that was our whole point, was to open this up and give you guys the tools and how we kind of implement this into our lives. It's simple. You know, you don't have to be a trust fund baby. You don't have to be someone that like got this huge inheritance or won the lottery. Like you can be an everyday person that starts with an active income, which active income is going to work, like actively working for your money and taking that money and turning it into a passive income, which means that the money is doing the work and you're not physically doing it.
Yeah.
I love that. So you looked up the different types of income, right?
Yeah. So there are 7 different streams, 7 different actual types, ways to make money.
So enlighten us on them because I even learned something.
Yeah. Okay. So number 1 is earned income. And that's the one that we're all most common with, where you trade your time for money. So you do something and someone pays you.
So you're going to work.
That can be hourly. That can be a salary. That can be mowing someone's lawn or filing their taxes.
Okay.
Something like that.
Earned income.
Yeah. Number 2 is profit. And that's money that you earn by selling something.
So like making jewelry, making candles.
Yeah. When your
like
cost is low and you sell something for a higher price, then you make that profit.
Profit income. Okay.
Number 3 is interest. That's money you get as a result of lending your money to someone else to use, like putting it in the bank and gaining interest on that, or buying some treasury bills, things like that.
Okay. So I think 401k would probably fall into that.
I think so.
Yeah. Profit. I think so.
Number 4 is dividend income. That's money you get as a return on shares of a company that you own.
So that would be part of like different types of like retirement accounts and stuff like that too.
Yeah. So if you buy shares of Facebook and you know,
yep,
the shares go up and you get money on that dividend.
I love that.
Rental income. That's money you get as a result, obviously, of renting something. Like if you own a house and rent it out to a tenant, or I don't know, you own a car and you rent it to somebody.
Yeah, I just heard that you can do that. There's an app where you can rent your car for the weekend.
Yeah. Is that Turo?
Turo, yeah, okay, exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I heard like this other one the other day where you can rent out, it was something else that was so obvious. And I'm like, that's so brilliant. It wasn't like a house or a car. It was like clothes or something. If you like,
there's Rent the Runway.
Rent the Runway. Yep. That's one of them. But there was like a private one. So like, let's say you like a prom dress or something like that.
Okay. Where you get your own dress back after it's being done being used.
Yeah. And then like, it's kind of like, you know, Airbnb, you'd rent out your home and then you'd have like a cleaner come in and clean after that person. Same thing with like your clothing. Like you would rent out your old prom dress and then you would take it to like a dry cleaner. So you'd have a relationship with that dry cleaner.
Yeah.
Where
they see your face every now and then.
Yeah, exactly. And they like know that this is like your business and they hook you up with a discount.
I haven't heard of that one.
Isn't that smart?
I'll have to look. Yeah, definitely.
Because we all buy that super expensive dress for the one occasion.
The one time.
But we don't want to get rid of it, right? Because it's like memorable and it's like, well, what if I could wear it again?
Yeah,
like
or
your
it's
wedding
too
dress.
Pretty to like give to Goodwill or something.
Yeah,
you know?
You could just make a couple $100 on it by renting it and then keep it and you're even.
I'm gonna have to look up that app or that company. That's genius,
right?
Okay, number 6 of 7, capital gains, and that is money that you get as a result of increase in value of an asset that you own. So if you buy shares at $10 and sell them later at $11, then that $1 is capital gains.
Okay. So that would probably be like buying and selling homes, I would think too, right?
Yeah.
Like the rental property.
You buy it and upgrade it and flip it.
Yep.
For sure.
Capital gains.
Yeah. And then final one, number 7, royalties. That's money you get as a result of letting someone else use your products, ideas, or processes. So like Subway, who has franchises all over, they collect royalties on all the different franchises that are owned by someone else.
Yep.
But all those owners use the Subway logo and the Subway marketing and everything. So
yep. So you come up with like an idea and then other people use your idea.
Yep.
And you get a little chunk of change for it.
Cha-ching.
Which I know you can do with network marketing companies. So let's say like you go back in time to like Tupperware and you like, I'm just like bringing up one that everyone would know, you know?
Yeah.
Let's say you got in on the Tupperware game, like right at the beginning, and you built up your Tupperware business where you had like hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales.
Wait, pause. Was Tupperware an MLM? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't remember them coming to your house? And like, okay, my mom used to have Tupperware parties. And the lady would come over with all of her products and then, you know, show all the Tupperware. And then at the end of it, she'd be like, who here wants to have their own Tupperware party?
That's hilarious.
And then like 3 ladies would have their own Tupperware party. It was like, it was a whole
and it goes on and on.
Yeah. And it was like the old version of like MLM kind of stuff because that used to be like product focused where people would have to buy a bunch of product and then sell it up front and then have these little home parties, you know?
Yeah.
But if let's say you built up your Tupperware business for like $100,000 in sales every month, like you were like the queen bee on Tupperware, you could take your network marketing business and sell it to someone else and make a profit and like never look, think, or touch Tupperware again, but just profited like so much money on selling it to someone. Wouldn't that be crazy?
So nice.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought like you had to keep running your business or it was over.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was like an asset.
It is.
I was like, well,
and you can step away and it'll keep running itself. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. And if you like literally want out, like let's say, because this happens, like a lot of times people are in a network marketing company. Let's say it was Tupperware. And then all of a sudden, like a new product comes along, like Mary Kay. And they're like, well, I want to sell Mary Kay now. Well, you can't do both. Usually there's like contracts with them where you can't like recruit one to the other. So they have to give up their first business.
Yeah.
And so you just got a huge profit for selling it to someone and off you go for your next adventure.
Yeah, like, thank you.
There's
bye.
a total business model to it. It's crazy.
It's very smart.
So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can make money. And a lot of those that you were saying, like the dividends and the rental and things like that, that comes in when you're not working. You could be on vacation and be collecting a rent check from
seriously
the people that are renting your home. Yeah.
Airbnb makes it super easy to almost be a property owner or landlord.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about the social sharing economy is nowadays there's so many like Uber and, there's just a lot of companies that are like the middleman for it. Even when like you do investing, the Bitcoin thing and Edward Jones and all those, financial companies that you just give them your money every month and then they take it and make you money.
Yeah.
So it's not like back in the day, if you wanted to rent your home, you just have to put an ad in the paper and pray someone's coming into town and wants to take it over,
Yeah. Put a sign by the road.
Yeah.
For rent.
And if you wanted to invest in the stock market, you had to figure it out on your own. It was so daunting that people didn't even partake in it. But nowadays, it's so easy.
Yeah.
So I know we were talking, even the fact that 7 streams of income is controversial. The whole concept of you have to have 7 to become a millionaire. That's controversial.
Yeah.
You could have 3 or 4 and still become a millionaire. I mean, you could have 1 and be a really successful business professional, whether it's an executive, a doctor, high-paying job engineer, and still become a millionaire.
Yeah.
I think the whole concept is that, and what I believe is that you have to have multiple streams in case one disappears.
Yeah.
Because the economy can fluctuate. We don't see things coming. You might be rocking it in your business, and then all of a sudden, people don't want that anymore. Even the best business owners sometimes realize, like, oh, no. Like, what was it? Payless, Kmart, like all these people that had these stores, they're all shutting down.
I think Winn-Dixie is now shutting down.
Really? Charlotte Russe just announced that they're closing. Victoria's Secret is closing a bunch of stores now.
Well, and so those are a lot of places that have storefronts that are probably suffering from online shopping.
Right.
But there are so many other factors too that can affect the market. And one of those that we learned recently was the presidential election. Like before Trump was elected, people were holding on to their money because they were like, we don't know what's going to happen. Like we don't know. I don't know what was going through their heads, but they weren't spending money. Like every shop owner we know, every business owner we know, they were like, yeah, sales are down. It's always down around the election time. Like it just is a thing. So there's that. And then anytime the stock market dips, people kind of like cling tight to their wallets. Different like seasons because of like vacations and school getting let out and school starting. Like there are just so many factors that affect the marketplace. So you can think your business is solid, but anything can come out of left field and, wake you up and be like, nope, it's not so certain.
I know. And it's so crazy because when we hired our financial advisor, like we got to the point, like I said, when I turned 30, I was like, okay, I want to make money while I'm sleeping. So I don't know how to invest in the stock market. I don't know how to like set up a retirement account. So we went to this guy that was recommended to us at Edward Jones. Super cool dude, spent hours with us explaining everything, like made sure we were comfortable. We set up like the amount that we wanted to give him every month. And he really helped us understand things. And one of the things that he told us is when money becomes fearful, you don't make money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And he said to us, most of the time when the stock market dips, like let's say you're watching the news and they're like, oh, the Dow crashed today. It's down like 300 points. The average person who's fearful of money is going to freak out.
Yeah.
Do you know what millionaires do?
And they're going to go pull their money out. Millionaires wait.
Millionaires are excited. Like they see the Dow go down and they're like, heck yes. And they're on the phone first
buying
thing,
up cheap shares.
buying up a bunch of stuff. And when he said that to us, I'm like, that is so brilliant. So we have like a nest egg that we keep to the side that we forget about. And then as soon as the market goes down, he calls us and he's like, how much you want to throw in?
Oh, nice.
And then we can like tell him, okay, well, we have this much saved. This is like, we'll give you 10%.
Yeah.
And we're like one of the people at the top of his list. We're like, you call us right away.
He's like, these people are going to buy.
Yeah. And then the other thing he shared with us is, putting in every month because the market goes up and down. So you're going to have good months and bad months. And so by putting your money in on a regular basis every single month, you're going to be getting all the different benefits. So, one month you might buy in and it might be really low and that's great. But then the next month it might be a little high, but you're always kind of getting different income from that. So it's not like investing a bunch at once and praying it goes well.
Yeah.
So it brings the risks down. So if someone's nervous about it, that would be my advice, is spread out the risk by doing it a little bit over time. So that was really interesting.
I've heard both. Well, that one's a little bit over time, but not necessarily like a little bit over accounts. But I've heard both arguments where some people are like, would you rather invest $1,000 in 10 different accounts and get like a little bit from each one, or $10,000 in one account and get a ton of return from that?
Right.
So there are both arguments, with everything, of course, but also side note, you go through a personal broker, but they just came out. I feel so cliche anytime I say there's an app for that.
But
there's an app for like automating stock market investing. And I forget what it is, but it's something like Robinhood or something like that. But I have a friend who uses it and she has like really good success with it. So
that's super
I need to dig more into it. But for people who don't know anything and who might not think that they have the money to go to an accountant or someone, that could be an option just to like invest like maybe 10 or $20 starting out and just kind of learn the system.
Yeah.
And like that way it kind of curbs your fear and you can learn more and then be more wise with your money.
Yeah. And my advice with that is always know the fees involved.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when you go to like an investment company or use one of those apps, they only make money when you make money. So that's a good feeling. You're not paying and then losing a bunch of money on top of it. But the fees are like, how much do they make, you know, of your profit?
Exactly.
So that's like what you want to look for. And then if you invest privately, like with someone, you have to have like a minimum of $10,000 before you can start investing in specific accounts. So like, let's say Facebook came up and I wanted to like invest in Facebook specifically, you have to have so much already invested before you can nitpick and choose individual ones.
Yeah.
Whereas those apps, you might be able to have more say because they're investing you with a group of other people. So you don't have to have like a minimum.
True.
So that's cool too.
Yeah.
So it just depends.
There's a lot to learn. So whichever route you choose with investing in stock markets, if you are ready for that, just learn it all. Learn the whole thing.
And do it young. That was like the thing. I started when I was 18. I opened my first Roth IRA when I was 18, as soon as I turned 18. And then I didn't really do much with it in my early 20s because I was so busy trying to make money and pay off college debt and lifing. But I was just thankful that I already had that on my brain. So you're never too young.
Never.
And the cool thing is with a Roth IRA, if you put it in that retirement account, you can always get your money back out. So whatever you put in is already tax deducted. And if you like need it in the case of an emergency, you can take it out. So that was really comforting too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's this common debate with, some of the most wealthy people in the country, wealthy people in the world. And some people are really firm in the belief of you need to have multiple streams of income, like we talked about, like have rental properties and have businesses and have investments in the stock market, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then there are other wealthy people who say, no, instead of spreading your attention among so many things, you need to focus on one thing, specialize on that one thing, know that one thing inside and out, and then protect it, know it. And if it's not producing, then change things to make it produce. So where do you stand on that?
I definitely stand in the 7 streams of income, and I believe in that for each person, not as like a unit. So like if it's me and my husband, he has 7 streams of income as his goal and I have 7. So it's not even just our household. Like I'm all about diversifying.
Yeah.
Even to the extent of like, I see a lot of couples like merging together and having their own business together. And my personal opinion is like, that is not a good idea.
I agree with you there.
What if that doesn't work out? You know what I mean? Like, and I think you're so right. I do like the idea of like go all in on something. If your business is your passion, or, you want to do rental properties and like giving that 100% of your time and attention, but legit, like what if that doesn't work out? Then what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And so I think with like a husband and a wife or friends or, family even coming together on a business, it is a good in theory. But if it doesn't work out, everyone's left in the dust and no one has a way to pick someone else up. So that's just like my personal thought on it.
I agree with you 100% on the husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, or partners, whatever, whoever you are, definitely have your separate things. I definitely 100% agree with that.
And if you have a business together, because let's say you're truly passionate on like being a travel agent and you're both bring a good piece of the puzzle together and you enjoy working together, that's great. But make sure that you have a supplemental income on the back burner somehow, some way.
Yeah.
You know, whether it is stocks or real estate or whatever, one of the other 6, make sure that there's at least a backup.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Your main one, okay, fine, work together, but just have a backup.
Yep.
Or 2, or
I agree
3,
with you.
or 7, like I say.
And referring back to our episode with Vicky Teal, she was like, no sex for shoes is one of her life rules. And she was like, don't rely on your husband. And, you know, it goes back the other way. Husbands, don't rely on your wives for the money. Like, you should each be independent and bring your stuff together and definitely share.
Yeah.
But don't rely on the other one, because it just creates this, I don't know, this like toxic dependency on each other that's not healthy.
And I think when you look at some of those streams of income, some of them do kind of combine together because you really can't help it. So like if you're in a marriage and you do real estate, you know, rental properties, let's say, or you flip houses, your money is their money, you're married. You know what I mean? So like the income comes in and it is together in a pot. Yeah. But you still can have your own active sources of income or maybe a profit income. Like I make candles and my husband sells fish. Like,
exactly.
You know, so there's always ways to kind of expand and have these safety nets, you know? I don't know. I'm paranoid. I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket. So,
well, that, and it also, like, from a relationship standpoint, it creates a much more healthy relationship when you're not financially dependent, because that way, when you remove the financial aspect of it, it's like you're together because you want to be together, because you love each other, you get along, you complement each other. But I've seen so many times when someone is reliant financially on the other person and they're like, well, you know, I feel like we should break up because we're terrible together, but what am I going to do without them? They pay all the bills and
that's hard.
I do this, you know, like, what do you do in that point?
Yeah. You know, for the longest time, I was always like, I just want to be a housewife and I just want to, you know, get everything paid for and I just want to stay at home. And then I'm like, I could never do that.
No,
you know?
I used to be the same way.
Like, that just sounds like the glamorous life. I could just drink Chardonnay all day and hang out with my girlfriends. And
then what? You have to ask somebody for money?
Yeah.
Like, no thanks.
I know. And, you know, it's so hard for me to live that. And I've always just been that person that's like, well, how else can I make money? So, you know, for me, it's always just been a part of who I am. And so although I have like my corporate job, I have, you know, a network marketing business that I do, then I do hair extensions, you know, so I'm like always kind of dabbling in all these different streams.
Yeah.
And so some people are like, God, you just do everything. And I'm like, if there is money involved, yes, I do everything.
Yeah.
Like, doing spray tans, you know, that's
so many of the, you know, wealthy people of the country, they don't do anything that doesn't make them money.
Right.
And even like going out to a really nice dinner, like they'll take a business partner or like a potential client or someone who could potentially lead to money. And I'm like, I mean, there is a balance. Like, you do want to enjoy life too, obviously, but there's something to that mindset when you say like, I value my time. My time is money. So I'm going to like use that time to build something, build leverage my empire.
Yeah. And I think that brings up a really good point. If you have a passion for something, there's a way to profit off of it. Yeah. And that can sound so cold and so harsh, but I always have to remind people, like when I help them with their business, is your time is valuable and your energy is even more valuable. And if you have the time to kill, like let's say you have the time, you know, you get home from work and you have nothing to do at night and you're single and you're not like actively dating, you just have all this free time. That's great. You know, if you want to, I don't know, go to dinner or your jam is like, for instance, one of my girlfriends, her jam is going to all the breweries. She loves going to new breweries and hanging at the bar and just that's her thing. And it's like, girl, you can take all that and make it into a side hustle. Yeah. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, blog. You don't think that there are hundreds of people that want to know the best breweries to go to when they're coming into town, or they want to know, you know, which one is the best one to drink when I go because I can't try them all. So turning her creative for fun life into a way to make a stream of income. Yeah. So now she blogs all about craft beers and breweries.
Oh, she does it.
Yeah.
Good.
Her Instagram handle is the craft beer chick.
I actually follow her.
Do you? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good. But that, you know, that was like my point to a lot of people where it's like, it's not cold to take your hobby or enjoyment and make it into a way to make money.
Yeah.
That's just what you got to do.
Exactly. And that's how you get to the point where that silly quote, love what you do and do what you love. That's how you get there is, find out what you love doing and find a way to make money off of it.
Right. Absolutely.
Just like you just said.
And, they say that, if you work a 9 to 5 or you work some job where you're not getting paid what you deserve and you come home and you don't work on your dreams.
Yes.
You're just unmotivated.
Yeah. It's just sad for you because there is like that desire in you somewhere, even if you don't exactly realize what it is. Everyone has a desire to do something that fuels them.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it can take time to figure out what that is, but just try things like throw things at the wall and see what sticks.
Gosh, absolutely. And I've tried so many things, I'm like,
Same here.
don't want to do that. Like,
that was not for me.
I always think I'm more crafty than I am. So I'm like, I could make jewelry. And I'm like, oh yeah.
I'll be a Pinterest mom. And you're like, wait.
Courtney last week inspired me. She's like, she collects crystals and sells them. I'm like, I could totally get an eBay account, buy and sell crystals.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be very good at it. Like that's just, it sounds cool, but it's not for me. But I wouldn't know that if I hadn't tried something.
Exactly. Yeah. You've got to try a lot of things.
So of all the 7 streams of income, what for you is next on your radar? Is there like anything on those 7 streams that you're like, I want to learn more about that? Or that intrigues me that I want to maybe start?
I really kind of want to get into like the real estate.
Same.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it would be a house renting out or buying land and waiting for that to appreciate in value and then selling that, or I don't know, but I really want to like dive in deep to real estate world.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think that's just so fascinating. I think we live in an area where that is so profitable, living in Florida near the beach.
And this area specifically is growing so fast. Like there's still land like close by that's undeveloped.
Yep.
But is, like things are just growing so fast.
Yeah.
Like everyone's moving down here because it's Florida.
Absolutely. And I got roped into this HG show, how they have all those like buying at the beach or like these real estate shows, where they like go look at houses, like love it or list it or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's one that's legit on rental properties. And these people go to look at real estate specifically for renting out as a short-term vacation rental. And they go with a consultant. So it's not the real estate agent. It's like this consultant that helps them visualize how they could profit by renting it out. So they go into these homes. And she's like, you could put a pool table here that would up the value because now you have entertainment. You could put a hot tub on the deck that would increase this. I would put a little table out here and make it cutesy. I would put bunk beds in this room so you could get more families that stay here. Like it was so cool watching this show.
Yeah.
Because you get this, like, it's also a job I never would have expected existed
like
on this
that
planet.
Consultant.
A consultant for how to help people increase their maximum value of short-term rentals. Like
there's a consultant for everything.
Yeah.
So find what you think about all the time and turn that into a consulting agency.
Oh my God, absolutely. Even like concierge businesses, if you live in like a neighborhood or a, community where people come into town a lot, to be a concierge like they do at hotels, but for that area. Like that would be so fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to just figure out what you want to do. And I think real estate's definitely up there. It seems so daunting from the outside. When you don't really know a lot about it, you're like, oh gosh, how could I even make that happen? But it goes back to our manifesting episode.
Manifesting and planning. And, once you set your end goal, you can break it down into smaller attainable steps and it's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
So also, when we were talking about working after you get home from your corporate job, if you have a corporate job or whatever you do with the majority of your time, in your free time, there are ways to maximize that to build your dream. You don't have to completely quit your stable job. Like we're not recommending that at all. Like definitely keep your bank account good. But in your free time, there are small ways to start building something that you love. And once you decide what that is, or whether you're just trying things out, like start a YouTube channel, start a blog.
Yeah, blogs. There's like taking paid surveys. That's like a big thing.
Yeah.
You can invest for small returns. So like instead of investing like $10,000 in a franchise, you can invest in like small businesses. So like, let's say someone needs, it's kind of like a GoFundMe page, but it's for investors of companies. So let's say I wanted to open a spa, but I needed to raise $100,000. So you can go on a website and people can donate like 1,000 or 500 or whatever, and then they get a return of a percentage down the road. So if you have extra money sitting in your bank, like, and you don't want to put it in just a regular savings account, you want to invest it in someone's idea or someone's creative mindset, you can do small little investments.
So with that, I haven't heard of that company. I think it's genius. So is there like a cap to the number of investors because there's a percentage that they all share?
I'm not exactly sure how it works. I think it goes on like a flat fee, like percentage. So let's say you're trying to raise $100,000 and someone wants to donate like $100. The fee maybe is like a 8% return or 10% return. So if the person gave me $100, I'd have to pay them $110 back.
Okay.
You know, or whatever it might be. I don't know I think it would be a little more than that.
I need to know about that. That sounds really fun and kind of down my line of interest.
Yeah. And I want to say there's some, you know, even like for women entrepreneurs specifically, like you get a whole story of like why they want to open this business and what it would mean to them and how they plan to impact their community with this business. So it's really cool because you get to help people in a pay it forward way, but still get to make money, you know, in a business way.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. I think there's like becoming a virtual assistant. That's a big one nowadays. There's that website Fiverr. So you can market your online skills. So if you help edit papers, if you help build websites, like whatever, you can you can advertise your skill set.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. An online course, driving for Uber, which, you know.
Uber is kind of minimum wage these days, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, and if you have the free time and you're just looking to like get some extra income and take that income and use it to invest in the stock market, like, that, you know what I mean? Like you take a little and get a lot out of it by having a plan. So I like that. Buying and selling on eBay, that's huge nowadays.
I've known a few people who have done really well with that.
Me too.
Which shocked me. I was like, eBay, like selling things for $2, but no, it's more than that.
It's crazy. My mother-in-law goes to, and she's, you know, in her 60s. So she has this eye for vintage things from her childhood or, you know, from her earlier years. And she can go into a thrift store or a garage sale and find these like vintage napkins. Legit. They're like cloth napkins for like 50 cents. She'll take them home, clean them up, post them on eBay with a great description and sells them for like $200.
200?
Oh, it's insane. It's insane what people are buying vintage
I thought you were going to say like 50 cents to $20.
Girl, no, like hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
For instance, they went and bought, you're not even going to believe this, a headboard. It was at a garage sale. No one bought it. It looked like it could be really nice. They bought it it was like $20.
Yeah.
Cleaned it up, put it on Craigslist and eBay. And this woman from Sarasota came and bought it for $500.
Nice.
Because it was the matching headboard to like some set that she had.
Oh, lucky day.
Like, yeah, it was like total fluke. Like,
that's funny.
So that's their thing. That's what they do. They go to all these garage sales all day and find things that sell on eBay.
There you go.
So I guess, you know, people do it with clothes. They do it with...
Yeah, there's a big market for doing that with clothes. Some people will even take like an old dress or something and break it down and reconstruct it into like something totally different.
Yeah,
like
I think that's so fascinating.
Yeah. But there are so many apps, even like Poshmark and Relove, where you can take whatever's in your closet that you don't wear anymore and sell that. I mean...
Yeah, that's so smart. And
that's easy money.
Think that is so hot right now with the whole KonMari method and people cleaning out their closets.
Yeah.
They're just donating stuff, like not realizing that it's worth money, or they could do eBay with it. And so they're just like, I'll bring it to the thrift store.
Yep.
Like, no, people are buying that thing.
There is money all over your life. You just have to attract it to you. You have to open your eyes, and you can't come across as like desperate and needy for it because money is almost like, nah, I can feel your desperation. No thanks.
Yeah.
But if you like, you know, attract it to you and just like open up the opportunities for it to, you know, like the channels, like stock markets or a blog or YouTube or whatever you want to start.
I think that nails a huge part of becoming financially stable is being open to opportunities.
Yes.
Because I think we're so ingrained with, like, you ever hear of like a horror story from someone else and you then internalize that horror story and it makes you on high alert? Like, like scams, right? Like you hear like, oh, this lady got scammed because she got a call and she gave them her social security number and they robbed her for every penny. So now that story sticks in your head. And so anytime you get an offer, you're like, is this a scam?
Yeah.
Sounds too good to be true, right?
I'm gonna walk away.
So I feel like staying really open to opportunities, is what you have to do to get opportunities. So if you're in this closed mindset where like someone offers you an opportunity, let's say it's to invest in something, let's say it's to be an affiliate for a company, let's say it's a opportunity with like a network marketing company, and your immediate thought is, no. How are you ever going to attract money to you? You know, you have to, my opinion is to be open to just getting the information. And just because you learn about it doesn't mean it's a yes. Like, it's true. You have to dig into the details, ask lots of questions, lots and lots and lots of questions. And when you feel like you've asked every question, research more questions to ask. But I think that is what is going to make you confident and comfortable to get more opportunities, you know, to come your way. So you might be open to opportunity, and then, you know, one comes along and you dig in, you're like, okay, it's not for me. And then another one comes along and now you're a little bit more comfortable and you're like, okay, let's check this one out. No, it's not for me. And you might go through that 10, 15 times. And then the 16th one is like the opportunity for you. And it matches everything, whether it's partnering with a friend to open a store, whether it's starting a blog, whether it's becoming an affiliate for some big company and they want to pay you to travel the world and, you know,
pose with their Metamucil.
Exactly. Whatever it might be. So, but if you weren't ever open, you would never have gotten that, you know?
Open and prepared.
Yeah.
You have to know your stuff. You have to almost open your life intentionally for something. Like study. And then like us, you and I right now, we're talking about wanting to invest in real estate. So we need to know that industry inside and out, and then be open to possibilities.
Yeah.
And then when something comes along, we can tell if it's a good deal or a bad deal. And, you know.
Yeah, but that was how I did it with the investment company that we started working with. All I knew is that at work, I was putting my money in a 401k. And then I left that job and I didn't know what happened to that money. Like, I was like, oh, it's just sitting there. Like, when do I get it? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, let me go find an investment company and check with them. And he gave us so much information. And he actually told me I could take that money out and do with it what I needed to do with him. And so I had more control of that money.
Yeah.
And through that openness of just researching and talking to him and learning so much about the stock market, now it excites me. Now I'm like, ooh, I'm always wanting to know the next deal and the opportunity that comes along with that industry.
Yeah.
That I literally was intimidated by and thought was never for me. But I just had to kind of dive in and ask all the questions. You know, I sat in his office. I was that girl. But like, okay, I know this is a 30-minute appointment, but you're going to have to clear your schedule for the afternoon. Like, I'm here and I'm not leaving.
I got questions.
Yeah, I do. I've got questions. And I think that's important, you know? Don't feel dumb for asking questions.
Never.
Oh my gosh.
And
over-ask.
Also, one little final tip of advice I'd like to offer is if you are donating, if you're selling most of your time, like the majority of your time to a 9-to-5 or to a full-time job, be it in a restaurant, in a bar, whatever you do, then maybe pick one thing, because we talk about 7 streams of income, but maybe pick one thing on top of that to master, to get that to generate income in your life, and then move on to your second layer, and then master that, get that to generate income, and move on to your third. And so don't go home tonight and try to dominate every 7 type of income.
Yeah.
But yeah, master one at a time.
Absolutely.
And then have them be like solid things in your life that you can rely on, and then move on to the next.
Absolutely. I think that is so important, because if you just dive in cold turkey, you're like, okay, I feel lost. I feel like I'm drowning. It's overwhelming. And none of them become successful because you only have so much time in the day.
Yeah. And you only know like a little bit about each one. So master each one and then move on to the next.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good tip.
Whoop. Do you have any final thoughts for this episode?
I guess my final thought is it's really important, I think, for people to think outside the box. and we kind of started the episode with that, where a lot of people didn't even know that this was a thing, or maybe they're just really complacent in their daily life and they're like, this is going to work. But like we said, life is expensive. And I think we are really opened up to the idea of where we can spend our money, right? Like on Instagram, we're like, we could buy this bag, we could buy these shoes, we could go on this vacation, we could travel to Iceland. So we're constantly being bombarded with ways to spend more money, but we're not being educated on ways to make more money.
Right.
And so that comes with your responsibility of improving and upgrading your life.
Yeah.
And you have to take that and do with it what you need to and just dive in.
Yeah.
So if you never thought of it before this episode, I really encourage you to kind of look up the different 7 streams of income, become familiar with it, maybe do like a vision board and figure out what your hobbies and passions are, and just know that there are ways to supplement your income with what you're already doing.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Make money while you sleep.
Yes, that is the goal. I love waking up and seeing my paycheck. I'm like, ooh, look at this. I sold 3 things last night and I didn't even do anything. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. And the more you can get your money to work for you, the easier your life will be, and just the more enjoyment you'll have. You'll be able to take those vacations you want and buy those shoes that you want and do whatever you want.
Yeah. Exactly. So. My goal is to retire at 40, and people laugh at me and I'm like, no, I'm for real. I got 7 years. Like, I can do it.
This is happening.
It's happening. So I hope this inspired you guys and you learned a lot in this episode. We'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us anyway. We would love for you to share with us what your passions are, how you're making your 7 streams of income. I think it's really cool to see how other people have gotten inventive and creative. So connect with us. And make sure you tune in next week for a whole new fun episode. Thanks for hanging out with us.
And whether you're cleansing or celebrating,
cheers!
Thank you for listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Join the Wheatgrass and Champagne community on Instagram, Facebook, and wheatgrassandchampagne.com. Details from this episode can be found in the show notes below. Tune in next Wednesday as we continue to seek the perfect balance between indulging and upgrading. Until then, cheers.